People, deluded, I'm back again. One love for tuning in. Now, apparently, there's been some sort of development where Emile Smith Rowe and his future is concerned. There's been an update where Bruno Guimarães is concerned. We've been linked with Doué of Rennes and also Olise of Crystal Palace. As we know, the Premier League season has drawn to a conclusion, and that has sparked the rumour mill. So if you give me a second, allow me to share my screen with you lot. Arsenal fans, let's go over stuff. Now, before I do that, please make sure your creative juices are flowing. Then let me know your comments and your thoughts on anything we discuss. Smash the like button and subscribe, because the journey to 70k is alive and kicking, and we're flirting with 60,000 people, which is a madness. But anyway, sharing this screen with you lot, people, and what we're about to discuss. Charles Watts has been speaking about Emile Smith Rowe, who is sad, and you lot know me, I'm the head of the Emile Smith Rowe fan club. It seems like it's probably best, you know, that the 23 turning 24-year-old either goes on loan, which there's been some rumors about that, or departs and plays on a consistent basis. I'll always back him. I'll always support him. I hope he doesn't leave. But at the end of the day, minutes are currency, and his stock has fallen, really. You know, if it was a Smith Rowe of a few years ago, we might be looking at him getting called up to the England Euro squad. Unfortunately, that's not a case. And with 2 years left on his deal, for someone that is wearing our number 10, someone that once upon a time was one of the first names on the team sheet, it just shows you how life is not linear. Progress is not linear now, whether it's because of injuries, competition for places, players being better or in better form, or a mixture of factors. I don't know. But for someone that's got 2 years left on his deal, and there's been radio silence about a new deal in the same way Zinchenko's got 2 years left on his deal, when Thomas Partey has 1 year left on his deal, does that tell you? What does that tell you? You know, you even look at Reece Nelson and Eddie Nketiah. Got them new deals even with their futures being undecided. So who knows? And, you know, Smith Rowe is someone that is continuously linked with clubs. He could be someone that could act as a cash earner for the football club. Apparently, talks are scheduled over the Arsenal star's future as clubs from England, and I think it means and abroad, on alert. Now, naturally, you'd imagine every player is going to have talks, but you'd imagine the players that have struggled for first team football, or it doesn't look clear what their role is to us football fans, are going to have discussions about where the manager is seeing fit for them moving forward. Apparently, Charles Watts has said talks to decide Emile Smith Rowe's Arsenal future are due to take place in the next couple of weeks. The 23-year-old endured another frustrating season with Arsenal, making just 19 appearances in all comps. Aside from a couple brief injury layoffs, the club's academy product was fit for the majority of the campaign, but was rarely used by boss Mikel Arteta, as the club looked to secure a first Premier League title in 20 years. And talks between Smith Rowe's camp and Arsenal are now scheduled ahead of the summer transfer window, with the attacking midfielder heading into the final 2 years of his deal with the Gunners. Now, you'd imagine, you know, there is a reality where the club are going to get round to giving him a new deal. He could earn a new contract. He could leave permanently, or he could leave on loan, or he could be used by Mikel Arteta. Now, what I would say is it's a mixture of things, because first thing, you got to look at the collective, right? For Smith Rowe, obviously injuries, other players, etc., other factors. You know, we've been fighting for a league title. Look at Jack Grealish and a couple of City players who have struggled at times for fitness. We're fighting, you know, whether it's on paper our strongest 11, or when you look at form and all the stuff, you know, what would have been our strongest 11 in the last few weeks and months of the season. Smith Rowe isn't in that. It says, you know, we needed to get 3 points. We need to win games. It's be useful or be useless. Now, I'm being a tiny bit disingenuous, but you get the point there. Now, from a collective point of view, yes, there's been some injuries. And, you know, obviously, Jorginho's probably ahead of him in the pecking order where centre midfield is concerned. You know, you look at someone like Thomas Partey, you hope the club bring in another midfielder. Kai Havertz was signed for 65 million, and he's an option there and was utilised there, although it's a lot sunnier days for Havertz playing up front. So that's where it's clouded. You know, he can play off the left-hand side in that inverted role. Martinelli, regardless of his form, and Trossard have been utilised there. Maybe even there's realities where Gabriel Jesus could be utilised there. So minutes are currency. He is a good squad player. I wouldn't mind him in the team, but there's minutes are currency. You're not playing, you're not getting significant minutes, you're not developing people. Let me know your thoughts. So, and for me, even in January, he's still someone that's linked with big clubs and making money. So I understand if the club let him go to bring cash in, then it is kind of what it is. People, let me know your thoughts. Charles Watts has also said we're talking about Emile Smith Rowe potentially leaving. As much as I don't want Emile to go, I still think the most likely outcome is that he does go. From the conversations I've had, from the lack of game time he's had, he's not getting those opportunities. It feels like the most likely option for both parties is that he's going to go. And I hope he goes and succeeds elsewhere, people. From one central midfielder of sorts to another, brother, Bruno Guimarães. Personally, I don't think Arsenal are getting him, but the rumour mills in relation to the Brazilian international won't go away. Team news and ticks on the pursuit of Bruno Guimarães. I was told within the last couple of days that there's been positive conversations. I'm not saying it's done or anywhere close to done, but the club are feeling positive on it, what I was told. I would love us to sign Bruno Guimarães, but Manchester City are there. Newcastle are going to play hardball. And what you've got to remember is the agent, if Arsenal get him, great. And I'm reading it too much into a situation that I'm not privy to the information to know anything. But clubs do play each other off, people, Bruno Guimarães could be going to Man City, but they could be utilizing Arsenal's interest to get a better deal at City or to kind of do kind of things in that regard. I would love Guimarães. I think he fits what we would want in midfield or what I would want in midfield. He's obviously got a lovely technical level, can play as a 6, can play in an 8, plays with can participate in all phases of the pitch. He's dynamic. He's almost an all-action midfielder, and I do like his attitude. Now, through the videos where we've discussed Bruno Guimarães, I must admit, a lot of you have different opinions. So let me know what you think. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. Football, like life, would be boring if we all thought the same way. Ben Jacobs has said Manchester City are still exploring a move for Bruno Guimarães, having made contact with the players' camp. Guimarães has a 100 million release clause valid only until the final week of June. So just over a month of sorts, as Romano was called. Arsenal have no plans to trigger the clause. They will only consider a move if the price drops. Martin Zubimendi remains a more concrete possibility, so we're more likely allegedly to get Zubimendi, and obviously he probably costs significantly less. We could do things in other areas. Guimarães has given every indication he's happy at Newcastle, but an exit can't be discounted due to the clause. PSG are out of the race for Guimarães. They still want Bernardo Silva. Gavi is appreciated too, but is viewed as a near impossible to get. And it's gone to speak about Barcelona. So long story short, PSG have gone away from it. Man City, in my opinion, are probably ahead of it. And Arsenal are somewhere in the middle in that if there is a deal to be done, there might be a willingness, but we're not keen to pay 100 million or anything close to that. And will Newcastle play ball? I'd imagine they sell Callum Wilson. I'd imagine they sell a couple of players before they look at selling Bruno Guimarães or Isak. Isak's another player that's been linked with us. And I reckon Bruno's more likely to go than him. So we'll have to see. But if they really want Ramsdale, is there any negotiations to be done in that regard? His entourage, the midfielder, hope to receive proposals from at least 2 Premier League clubs, with the player's priority wanting to remain in England. He's got a 100 million release clause which expires next month, and it can be paid in 3 annual installments. So it all depends. I reckon Arsenal, if they were to agree to a deal of 100 million, it would be like more add-ons and variables and collective and individual bonuses that see us reach that final figure, where it's not necessarily a guaranteed figure. And you would imagine Newcastle probably don't want to do that. On Isak, Arteta is a massive fan. He's one that Arteta sees. If he could get one player, only sign one player, be Isak. He loves him, but Newcastle don't want to lose him, people. Romano has said they still need a proper number 9. Sesko is a name in the list. Gyökeres has been fantastic this season in Portugal. The dream target could be Alexander Isak at Newcastle, but I don't think he's going to leave the club, people. And again, I did cover this part yesterday. Check out the video I did there. Newcastle allegedly will demand in excess of 150 million for him. I reckon they'll do it for around 90 or 100. Either way, they're pricing him out of a move, people. Apparently, Newcastle would actually laugh at suggestions of a 90 million pound offer being accepted. And apparently, Arsenal would need to double that bid in order for discussions to take place. Newcastle are said to be ready to convince Isak that he should stay at St James's Park in the event Arsenal do make a move, and he did get 21 goals last season. Quality player, people. Once again, Arsenal and Manchester City remain interested in Guimarães. We've gone over that really and truly, but once again, Newcastle are adamant that they do not want to sell, and Eddie Howe has kind of not talked down rumours but not shut them off either, people. So it is what it is. I think it goes without saying, this is Eddie Howe. My thoughts on Bruno's situation are that we want to keep him. We want to build our team around him. He's an integral part of what we're doing. I think his form has been very good. He seems very happy and settled. He'll be thinking about, of course, a busy summer ahead and where hopefully we can take the team with him as a big part of it. But as I say, we're not in control of it. So let's see. Quality player, man. On Thomas Partey, again, Romano has said they have several players lined up. There's a good chance they'll bring in a new midfielder. Thomas will leave. Jorginho has extended, but I also think they'll sign a new left back, which is interesting. DiMarzio on Partey said Juventus wanted Thomas Partey, and Napoli also like him. The sporting director Giovanni Manna wanted him at Juventus, and they'll probably try to get him again now for Napoli. But will they give Arsenal a transfer fee and one that Arsenal deem acceptable, or will they wait 6 or 7 months from August, because they know in January we can agree a move for free for him to join the following season? Who knows, people? Mika Berth has done quite well in Austria. Apparently, Studgrass's sporting director said Mika Berth's intense style of play is even more important for us. He's always annoying. You can never take your eyes off him. He can contribute something crucial right up to the end. Yes, we want to try to sign Mika permanently. There's an appointment with Arsenal next week. Maybe they'll quote a price that will be feasible for us. We can push our limits a little higher for a player like that. You'd imagine him, Charlie Patino, would probably be outgoers and ones that, again, help us get some money in. Apparently, I think Olise ends up at Man United, but Arsenal are leading Chelsea in the race to sign Crystal Palace forward Olise in the summer transfer window. A hamstring injury did sideline, the 22-year-old Crystal Palace player for a minute, but he's still got 10 goals and 6 assists in 19 appearances, and he's a quality player. It's understood. Arsenal, Manchester United, and before I carry on, Southgate has said they want him to play for England. It's understood Arsenal, Man United, Newcastle, Liverpool, and Chelsea are all circling. Crystal Palace are bracing themselves for potential bidding frenzy for Olise, Eze, and Mateta. Palace's two other most valuable assets are also attracting strong interest. What about Mark Gurhey? Apparently, Chelsea will go all out to sign Olise regardless of who they appoint as a manager to replace Pochettino. They're desperate to get the man. Apparently, people, it's claimed Arsenal have an edge in the chase for Olise, given the player has ambitions of competing in the Champions League next term, something Chelsea, of course, are unable to offer. Chelsea are not prepared to give up on Olise because they're prepared to go as far as 60 million. Will Arsenal do that? He has signed a new 4-year deal last August and is contracted until 2027. And I guess from a Crystal Palace point of view, their new manager, if you hold on to Mateta, Olise, Gurhey, Eze, easier said than done, then they could have a decent year next year, assuming they marry it with even more quality. On Victor Osimhen, apparently he wants the Premier League. Osimhen would like Arsenal. Otherwise, he would consider Saudi Arabia. There is no club paying the release clause today. And apparently, people, Arsenal have been linked with Destiny Doué people, and Rennes are resigned to letting him go in the summer. Apparently, the following clubs have made contact with him. And I've got a video coming out on him very soon. You lot know me. I always tweet about him and talk about him. PSG, Man United, Arsenal, Spurs, Leverkusen, Bayern, and Borussia Dortmund have all apparently made contact with his reps. Leverkusen, I'm sure, like Newcastle, had a bid rejected for him in January, and he's had a strong end to the season. This is behind a paywall, people, but it's more or less correlating what we're seeing here, in that Newcastle are still on the hunt of signing Aaron Ramsdale. So again, we're going to have to see how the market develops in terms of ingoings and outgoings. Let me know your thoughts on Isak, on Guimaraes, on Gyökeres, on Olise, on Emile Smith Rowe departing, and anything else we've discussed, people. As usual, make sure you're smashing the like button, you're subscribing. Check out the rest of the other videos. On that note, God bless you all. Peace.